Hi, thanks for joining us. This is Dr. Emil Chin at Park Avenue LASEK. We're the only 100% non-cutting, pure LASEK center in the United States. We're very famous for that, but I'd like to explain the difference between LASEK, LASIK, Epi-LASIK, and PRK. So we're just getting ready for the procedure, and just so we have an idea of the different procedures, I like to group them into cutting versus non-cutting. So cutting is LASIK with a metal blade, or interlace or bladeless, where we cut a flap with the laser. This is the latest and most advanced safe non-cutting form. This is an Epi-LASEK keratome. I pioneered the term Epi-LASEK about 10 years ago because it's really more a LASEK than a LASIK. A LASIK means that you're pushing away the skin of the eye. A LASIK again means you're cutting a flap into the cornea. This is an epikeratome, and it's the angle's not that great, so you can't see the separator, but this is not a blade. It's a little piece of plastic in there. It's blunt, and it doesn't have the edge to go into the cornea even if you wanted to. So it's not a knife, it's like a spatula. So this is just gently sliding across the cornea, and because it doesn't have any sharpness to the edge, it just skids across and removes the epithelium of your eye. Now, the reason it's advantageous to not cut a flap, there's probably 3 or 4 reasons. Number one, we don't cause dry eyes because by cutting the corneal nerves, that causes the eye to be dry because it decreases the blink rate. Number two, we avoid night glare and halos. I have that after my LASIK because my cornea is now in 2 pieces, and when light comes in, it reflects and refracts off of that interface. With the surface procedures, again, those are LASEK, Epi-LASEK, and PRK. You don't have a 2-piece cornea, and therefore you don't have as much night glare. It's also safer because if you get punched in the eye, like if you play contact sports, it's not a problem. Recently, we did Epi-LASEK on David Branch, who's a pretty famous mixed martial arts guy. So you can see I already removed the skin of the eye. It's in 1 piece, unlike a PRK. A PRK is an older procedure I stopped performing 20 years ago, and you scrape off the epithelium in many pieces, which causes pain and inflammation and scarring, and that's why no advanced surgeon does PRKs anymore. So if a surgeon says he's going to do a PRK on you, you should say thank you very much and then go to somebody who does a LASEK or Epi-LASEK. You can see we took off the epithelium. Now I'm just using a Weck cell. It's a cellulose sponge to gently dry the cornea. Make sure there's no water on the cornea, otherwise it blocks the laser beam and you get an undercorrection. And you can see there's just a little bit of heme on the top of the eye. That's because you wore contact lenses too long or overnight or both, and new blood vessels grew in. So one of the advantages of laser vision correction is afterwards those blood vessels are going to go away because he's not going to have to wear contacts for the rest of his life. So you can see I took off the skin of the eye. It's nice and neat. I was just drying off the surface, making sure there's no moisture or anything else to get in the way of the laser. The laser is so advanced that we can now treat 25 times more accurately than glasses or contacts. So typically I'm getting people slightly better than glasses or contacts just because it's a more accurate prescription. Okay, so when I had it done, HD did not exist. Now almost all the patients are getting high definition. This is the laser. It's an ultraviolet laser. You really can't see it. The patient has to look at a blinking red LED fixation light because the laser is ultraviolet and invisible. It takes about 10 seconds per diopter, so if the person's -3, it only takes 30 seconds at most, maybe more like 20 seconds. The advantages of doing the Epi-LASEK instead of the LASEK is a quicker recovery and less discomfort. So we've had people have this done after, let's say, they had a PRK primary maybe 10 years ago by another surgeon, and they need a touch-up. They decide to come to me because the PRK hurt, and then they have this, and afterwards they're like, oh, I can't believe it didn't hurt at all. I thought that LASEK was pretty much like a PRK. Now, this is probably what surgeons who do PRK tell people because, they don't do LASEK. So we've had many, many patients have LASEK after a first PRK by a different surgeon, and they said it's shockingly painless. So as long as the contact lens stays in the eye and it doesn't fall out, it's not painful at all. This is just, irrigating. We're going to put a bandage contact lens. You need the bandage contact lens to help healing so that when the patient blinks, he's not blinking over the surface so the skin of the eye grows back. One of the advances that I pioneered is getting rid of the flap. We used to put the flap back on, and getting rid of the flap makes the healing quicker. I should mention that LASEK was invented by 2 of my colleagues at Harvard, and I've pioneered this and advanced it over the last 10 to 20 years. So now we're just putting on the bandage contact lens and antibiotic drop, steroid drop to prevent scarring, and a non-steroidal, which is like liquid motion to prevent pain or discomfort afterwards. And, you know, he's going to sit up and see, he's going to be legal to drive. We're going to take off the speculum. And then he just has to understand after the surface procedure, instead of, you know, a 1 or 2 day recovery for LASEK, it's going to be more like a 3 or 4 day recovery for epi-LASEK, and maybe 5, 6 day recovery for LASEK, and maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 day recovery for PRK, which you won't do anymore. Okay, so yeah, so the actual procedure took less than a minute per eye. It was longer on the right eye because the prescription was a little higher. I guess we'll count to 3 and we'll see if you can read the sound. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, wow.
Hey! You can see everything, right?
Wow, yeah.
You might even start to see Bank of America. It shouldn't be sharp, but
I
you
can
might
see I can actually see the flag of the Bank of America. I didn't even know
Yeah.
there was a flag.
Yeah. So look, this is the worst you're gonna see for the rest of your life. Every day is gonna get sharper for like at least a month. Okay? You'll be like glasses or contacts in a week, and you should be maybe slightly sharper than glasses or contacts in like a month.
Okay. Wow.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I could even read the parking signs right there. I didn't even know there's parking signs there either. So.
Those are kind of small signs, by the way. So the people who can read the parking signs, half of those people will get to better than 2020.
Okay. Awesome.
Because that's very small stuff.
Nice.
I have to say, as a mom, I was very nervous, you know, because mom's always worried about their kids. But let me tell you, the procedure was so easy.
Easy, right?
And
Yeah.
you know what? And I'm so happy that he has good vision.
Yeah.
He's worn glasses his whole life.
Right.
So this is great that he doesn't have to wear glasses. So if anyone's thinking about doing this, they should definitely consider doing it.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, call 212-741-8628. We're the only center in New York City that lets you come in and actually watch surgery. It's because it's non-cutting. We can't have a complication. The consultation's free. You have nothing to lose except your glasses and contacts forever.